Good morning, everyone. I am drinking some rich Costa Rica this morning, and my mojo is flowing like a passionate, juicy, thick river of love for you this morning. I am going to make a video on hunting. So get ready, YouTube, because it is me, the Yankee Prepper. Okay, just to give a little background for those of you that don't know what the hell is going on, just in case you found this vid randomly, let's say, or you don't follow my channel regularly, my name was drawn for a special pilot archery hunt at the St. Croix State Park in Minnesota. Second largest state park in Minnesota, in fact, at 34,000 acres. Now, a few years ago, we had a huge storm come through, and it blew down swaths of trees in this state park, and they're trying to grow them back, but the deer population is so large in this area, they keep mowing down the vegetation, including those trees they keep planting. So they've called in 100 hunters, me included, to knock down the deer population so they can grow these pines and cedars back. And that is what this is all about. I'm going to do a vid on how I would hunt brand new public land. Just video this whole process. Now let me say right off the get-go that I don't think I'm bringing anything new to the table here. Nothing that I'm going to be showing you hasn't already been done or is being done or probably has a vid up on it 1,000 times over on YouTube. And that's why I've never done vids like this, because it's already been done. You know, it's already up there. And we've been hunting a long time. There's no, really big special secrets to this. It's pretty straightforward, but it does take practice. And hunting private land, let's say, and hunting public land, there are some big differences. So I think this was a special opportunity just to go through this whole thing and show you how I would do it from start to end. Anybody can set a deer stand up on the edge of an alfalfa field somewhere and harvest a deer every year. I'm sure I'll even get to that point as I get older. You know, I might want to get a little piece of property on the edge of a field somewhere where I can harvest a deer every year. I like the taste of venison. But hunting on public land is totally different than, having a piece of property like that where you know you're going to get a deer every year and he's going to come walking down the edge of that field. Hunting public land is truly hunting. You've got to do a lot of homework with it. You got to do a lot of scouting, and you got to know what to look for. There is an art to it, and it takes practice. I personally love scouting. I think I like scouting as much as I like the hunt itself, if not more. Yeah, that is so much fun to get out there looking for sign, looking for the trails. I love that part of it. Now, having said that, let me put in a very serious word of caution here for you guys. If you're thinking about taking anything up like this, where you're actually going in to scout out a piece of property or a piece of wilderness, 95%, maybe 98% of the people that visit state and national parks or wilderness areas every year are never going to leave that well-marked trail. They're going to go into the wilderness area that's prepared for them. They're going to stay at designated campsites. You're going to need a totally different set, a different level of skills once you leave that well-marked trail and walk into that wilderness area. You're going to have a totally different appreciation for what our ancestors did and what explorers did all over the world. It's going to take a different level of competence. I've walked 50 feet in off an ATV trail and turned around, and I can't tell which way is which without my compass or a GPS with me. That's how quickly you can lose your way out there, and that's how quickly people do lose their way out there. So be aware of that. This is serious business. Getting lost is a very real possibility. I'm going into a state park that's 34,000 acres. There are people that live in certain parts of the country that can't even comprehend that. They're used to small state parks. Up here in Minnesota, there are lots of states like that. Not just Minnesota, but up here in Minnesota, you've got literally bits and pieces left of the frontier, where there are places where no one has ever walked or haven't walked there in a long time. And there's no cell phone service out there. There's no signs telling you how to get back. If you're going in, if you're going to leave that trail, know how to get out of there. It's serious business. The most important piece, I think, and the most underutilized skill is compass work. You really, I think before you ever touch any of these GPS models or using a GPS,
rather, learn how to use a compass and a map first. Know where you are, know where you're going. You know, I get state provided maps of where I'm going. I get on and get Google Maps. I study them even before I go out there to see, you know, the trails, because you can really see a lot of definition on the Google Maps. I'll do all this research beforehand, sometimes days or weeks beforehand, and I always take a compass. In fact, I have a compass like this one strapped to me, and I always have one in my pack. GPS, the way I look at it, is a really nice luxury, but I don't rely on it because it has batteries in it. But it does cut down on the amount of work or time that you have to put into scouting an area, which is nice. Because in modern day, that's what you're really fighting. You're fighting the amount of time that you have. And time to hunt is really what's going to get you that deer. So you want to be very efficient in how you use that time. GPS really helps. This is the first GPS I ever purchased right out of the military. And this was pretty much what we were basically using in the military when I left. This is 90s technology. It still works good, really heavy. I put a piece of Velcro on the back now and attach it to my ATV when I'm out there and use it that way. And it still works fine. It's just, you know, much heavier than, let's say, this Garmin. My favorite GPS, though, to use is this Bushnell. You know, Bushnell's been around for a long time. I remember buying BB guns and putting scopes on them from Bushnell. And they're good pieces of equipment, and they're always cheap. I think this thing cost me less than $40. And it only has 2 waypoints that I can put into it, and then it has a home point for getting back to the vehicle. But it's really nice. I like it because it's light and it just makes it easy to use. It's only got a couple buttons on. There's all kinds of price ranges that you can use out there. I like this one a lot, you know, for a do-it-all GPS. The eTrex 20 and the eTrex 10 actually would probably be plenty for what I need. I mean, they got more gadgets, more waypoints, you know, more buttons on there than you possibly need. And it's pretty intuitive how to use it too. There's not a lot of complication. I actually literally, truly just picked it up and started playing with it, and I knew how to use it. This thing, the old ones, oh my gosh, you needed an engineering degree to get through them. It was pretty complicated. But that's what I like about this. Again, I mean, if I was going to have one and only one, I'd probably have this one. But when you want to have exact coordinates so you can give it to other guys, or you got to give it to, like in this case, I've got to give it to the DNR to tell them where my deer stand's going to be, you have to have the actual coordinates. And these you can download maps too if you want to get into that. But GPS, luxury. If you're going to go out there with them, make sure you have extra batteries. But first and foremost, map and compass. Learn how to work. It's a lost art. You want to teach your kids something that's really important they'll have for the rest of their life? Map and compass. And then I always carry just paper. Just a book with some paper and a pen just to write notes down. You know, very old school. Okay, let's put all this stuff in my pack. We'll throw some candy bars, some energy bars in there, some water, and let's go do our scouting trip. Well, I got a map from the info center, and she marked off a few places for me, but it's not a lot of help. They're not offering a lot of help. They're just like, there's deer everywhere. They did tell me the blowdown area is here, but whenever I'm hunting public land or I'm out scouting, I don't care how early it is, I always use a scent cover on my shoes and bottom of my pants. When I go into an area to scout for a future hunt, I think stealth first and foremost. I act like I don't even want to be tracked. I'm very careful about where I go, how I step. I try to be as quiet as possible, and I definitely don't do any talking, so I'm just going to kind of dub over this, show you what I'm doing. Went down to the riverfront first. I spotted deer activity right away. Got some tracks here. Lots of trails heading down to the river. And I'm looking around too at the treeage, seeing what I could use for deer stands. I've got several portable stands to choose from, so I'm trying to decide, what my options are here. There was activity and trails, but nothing that really jumped out at me. Just possibilities. In the blowdown area, I found these fire breaks. They're mowing down fire breaks because they're afraid that, if a lightning strike hits, that it will just blow across these huge swaths of areas where trees are down. I marked the Bushnell, my starting point, making sure it's tracking, and I started heading down one of these fire breaks. This is definitely going to attract deer traffic. Deer are very incredible, talented creatures, no doubt. They have a lot of just instinctive gifts from God, but they are lazy like we are, and they take the path of least resistance. I spotted tracks right away, small though, but lots of activity. Tracking is a lot of fun. I get a lot of personal enjoyment out of it. And the more you do it, the better you get. It's like anything else. You begin to be able to spot things underneath the grasses. It just gets easier. These blowdown areas offer a lot of food for deer. Got a lot of new, young vegetation. Probably a badger, would be my guess. As I got deeper in, I was spotting bigger tracks. That's looking pretty nice. And that one's really looking good. Getting excited now. A lot of activity. But the problem is cover. Not a lot of trees. Came across another predator, coyote, full of fur. Coyote scat, full of fur. Here I'm looking at a possible place for a ground blind. Pointing at it right there. I always like to have a backdrop for a ground blind. There's not a lot of trees, and I that's my least favorite way to hunt is from a ground blind. Give up a lot of advantages. I like to get up in the air to get out of the scent zone and their movement zone. Deer look at what's in front of them. They don't look up. So they're looking for predators and movement just at eye level. So getting up in the air is a serious advantage. And even to get out of that scent zone, which you want to be about at least 20 feet up in the air. Now this is another thing I'm looking for. I'm looking for trails coming together. Great ambush points. And that's basically what I'm looking for, ambush points. I'm going to increase my chances of seeing a deer just because these trails intersect. I've got 3 spots coming together there. But again, not a lot of cover. Now, I've been doing this a long time, and you begin to figure out things. And grasses like this in the spring, summer, and fall, they provide bedding points for deer. That's what you see here. Again, it's a lot of enjoyment when you're able to use these skills. And you can recognize these places where the deer are bedding down. And where deer bed down, that's where they're really comfortable. Great place to hunt and set up. Kind of looking around here to see what I could do with the trees and the cover. That's what scouting is for. What are your options? Any bed down points I marked on GPS. Plenty of food out here and some cover that I could use. I always take notes on every GPS point I mark. Here's another grassy field I followed off trail. I mean, I'm seeing lots of activity. There's plenty of food out here for them. Very few trees, though, that I could that I could really use. I followed this grass field up to another bedding point, and it was a nice one. There was probably 4 or 5, maybe half a dozen deer that laid down here. Probably all does, sticking together. That's what I'm looking for out here. Possibilities. I'll mark that with the GPS too. Uh-oh. 2 samurai. I was feeling pretty good, and I noticed this game cam. It reminded me there are other guys out here thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Put up some bait, and then he put up a trail cam across. So I've seen quite a bit of activity out here. There's lots of food for them right now. You know, spring, summer, fall, you'll have all this new growth. I started making my way out of there using the bush now. It brought me to the road about 100 yards away from my truck. I spent about 2 hours out there looking around for ambush points, bedding, places I could set up a stand. And then I noticed this service road. I could tell it wasn't used very much. I was almost out of time, but something told me to pull over. I can't explain it to you. Not a lot driving down here. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of activity. Vegetation is overgrown on the road, and there was actually some branches down on the road. But I liked the trees and cover here. If I could only find an acorn tree. That's what I was really hoping for. This gives me a lot more options with stands here, with this kind of tree cover. Couldn't believe it. It's one thing to find one oak tree putting out acorns, but a whole stand of them, it was just too good to be true. I was pretty happy. Now if I could just find some sign. You know, right now, the deer are out eating that vegetation in the blowdown areas, but that's going to dry up pretty quick. And they're going to be looking for these acorns. Some deer scat. There's already deer out here visiting this place. My hopes were just booming. And then there's great trees for climbing stands or lean-tos. Usually doesn't work this way, guys, believe me. This was just a great scouting trip. You know, I found plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan D. I've got multiple sites now. I only wish I would have had more time. I couldn't believe it, how nice this was. I started walking back up the trail, but one glance at my watch and I knew I had to head back. I want to come back here and actually walk up this trail and see if I can find some more spots. But I marked this spot down for sure. I mean, this would be my first choice. I've got a natural baiting place for him. And before I left, I took some of this trail ribbon, which is a fluorescent orange plastic ribbon. I use it. I always carry it with me when I'm out there in case I want to mark a trail, or even if I'm tracking a deer that's wounded. It's nice to have this just to hang it from branches so you quickly know where you've been and where you're going and how to get back. But I wrapped a piece of it around one of the trees underneath that acorn drop, and I wrote deer stand for 2015 on there. Now, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't give me claim to anything, but hunters in general are pretty honorable people, and I have found that archers are really honorable. They're the cream of the crop. They're just a different mindset. And I am hoping that if somebody does discover it, they'll see that and know that I've been there. So I'm pretty excited. I want to go on another scouting trip soon before the hunt starts. And the 26th, I think that's this Saturday, they have an orientation at the park as well. So I'll probably be going back there both for another scouting trip and the orientation. I'll try to do some vids of that as well. Thanks, guys.